welcome back to another episode of Tea Time with TT Live. I am your host, TT. All right. And today we have an amazing guest, guys. Like, this is somebody I've been watching my entire spiritual journey. And I'm just so excited that she chose Tea Time with TT to come on and, allow me to talk with her. So, guys, I'd like you to put like your hands together. I don't care where you at. If you're in the living room, the kitchen, driving, honey, put your hands together for the incomparable Magickal Lady Duchess.
Thank you, darling. Thank you very much.
So, guys,
what would you prefer if would I call you?
Well, you could call me TT. You could just call me TT.
My granddaughter's name TT.
Yeah.
She's Scorpio. Yeah.
Oh, see, I'm a Scorpio rising, though. I'm a Scorpio rising, but I'm a
they
Gemini.
Real sneaky.
Yeah, they can be that. I have a daughter
on you in a fucking minute, boy.
Yes, and they very, very, very vengeful, honey. My daughter is a Scorpio, and she the sweetest thing to me. But everybody like, DB is mean. Like,
my grandbaby TT, she can't wait to come see me because she gonna tell me whatever my stepdaughter.
Everybody else.
She would tell you that she is a snitch. It's that Scorpio, you can't do shit. And she not repeating. You be like, girl, what the fuck?
Don't tell nobody that.
One of the funniest stories is that she was getting into shit in kindergarten. And the second semester, they kept calling me. So I was like, well, and they was complaining about her. She don't want to sit down and she want to talk and all this other stuff. And I said, well, why didn't anybody tell me? So a teacher pulls me aside and said, well, her name was Miss Kelly. She said, well, we didn't want to tell you because we didn't want you to do nothing to us. And I said, what y'all mean do something to y'all? She wrong. She said, well, let me type this in. So she types in my website. No, my YouTube channel. And she says that my granddaughter showed that to her and said, This is my grandmother and she's a witch. So if you do something to me, she's going to get you. Now, keep in mind, I was surprised because I didn't know that she was paying attention.
Right.
But she really was. And so she would go to school and tell them I do this. I'm like, girl, you ain't never fucking seen me do no shit like that. But that damn TT, I hope you not bad like that. Because
no, ma'am. I ain't got time.
And towards her graduation was real funny. Because like this lady one of the teachers runs up to me and scares the shit out of me. And I'm kind of like pinned in a corner. Because at that time I wasn't aware that so many people watch me, especially not locally. And so she ran up to me, she was crying and snotting on my shirt. And she goes, you changed me. You helped me and my husband. I just want to say thank you. And I was like, thank you. You're welcome. And I heard it ran out the door. But that's my TT. That's how she handled it. She was snitch. You can't do nothing around her. She would tell you. I'm gonna tell you.
Oh no.
Yeah, and they
but
fuck around and
honest.
They didn't fuck around and gave her a cell phone. I'd be surprised how many phone calls I'm gonna get about what her mama did.
How old is she now?
10.
Oh, honey, yes, honey, it's gonna begin. What?
No, it already began.
Well, at least she honest. She get that part from her grandma. Okay.
Yeah, but she's
gonna tell you I'm a snitch.
Yeah, she gonna tell it for sure.
I love that. So for all the people who are just tuning in that might not know you, which I don't know how that's possible at this point, and if you on the spiritual game, but when you first coming in, I remember when I first came in, I didn't know much about anything. So who is Magickal Lady Duchess to those who have not gotten a chance to come across you?
So when I asked you to send me questions like, who am I? It's something that I had to really think about, like, what is my identity? So I had to answer it like that. Like, to me, our identity is all those encompassing situations and memories and experiences that make us and they define us, right? So I'm gonna say I'm a spiritual being in an earthly realm. that's kind of, and it's not, I feel like all my experiences in my life made me like this. Mm-hmm. And it made me look at things in a very spiritual way. Even when I didn't know that's what the fuck I was doing.
Right.
But we're these unnatural beings in an earthly realm. And I feel like who I am today ain't even who I was 6 months ago and a year ago. And I can certainly remember when I first started this, I was doing it as a hobby because I was at home and I didn't want to be bored.
Same.
And I kind of fell into it because it was something that my mother did. Mm. And my surname is Prophet.
Period.
That's one of my surnames, Prophet. And they are a beautiful Haitian group of people. And so I grew up with the matriarch of the family. My great aunt who raised me, she was the oldest. Okay. And so that's who kind of taught me everything. And what we do is so hidden today. Mm-hmm. And we don't have any elders to teach us. Right. And the elders that are existing don't trust us. Mm-hmm. And so who I am, I'm just trying to keep conjure alive.
Say that. Ooh,
I'm not into the new wave stuff. Not that I'm a hater of it. I think breathing meditation is wonderful. I do, but that's not who I am. I'm just straight conjure. I like hoodoo. I love it, actually. You know, I'm working on my book now.
Oh, come on with it.
And in the introduction, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna say. Can I cuss?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. I cuss all the time.
And so it's like a love letter to hoodoo.
Yes.
Because it kind of conjure saved me.
Same.
I was really broken. Mm-hmm. And I had been in church, and I didn't grow up in church. I grew up EFI. My mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, I grew up in EFI. It's a little bit too conformed for me.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to do that because I found contradictions in that. Mm-hmm. And so I know I didn't want to do that. And so, but I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I know I didn't want to follow such a structured religion because I'm not a structured person like that. And so I find it any contradiction, I feel like it's just like Christianity and everything else. Mm-hmm. These Orishas, they over-sexualize them because they do. But they want you to be covered up from head to toe. Okay. And I understand about protecting your Ori, and I understand that, but that wasn't my journey. That was her journey. It wasn't mine. And so just finding my way to it, like I said, it saved me, it rescued me. Mm-hmm. You know, I am the queen of my country.
That's it.
So you can't compete where you don't compare. And so that's what it means, like, to me. My identity, who I am just a natural, like, a lot of people think that I'm some type of, what's some green avatars or some shit like that? Or, because that's what they think conjure and magic is. It's not.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's horrible. This is why this podcast is here, because I want people to see, like, we all have maybe different paths that we're going down. Some of the people that I might interview might have the same path, but different views. But I need them to understand that this is who we are. Like, you know, whatever it is that you choose for your spiritual practice is like literally who you are. So, you know, like you said, it's not no avatar, no damn green alien looking thing. You know, you're not sitting
and
there.
It's not a whole bunch. It's not 1,500 crystals and you chanting in a circle with
right
candles. It's the same. It's not that either. You know, really, like you the foundation, you the core. You are what makes magic happen.
That's
the cerebral
right.
cortex.
Yeah, funny.
The pituitary gland, the third eye, it all stems up here. So how you are up here and what you allow in that particular portal, what you see, what you hear, what you absorb, you know, that could change who you are. And I will say that throughout all my experiences in life, and that's why I feel so in love with hoodoo, because I was practicing it and didn't even know it.
Okay. Say it today.
And that's what a lot of Black people do. It is at its core, it's who we are. You know, and a lot of people are not in tune or in touch with that to know that, you know.
Yes.
So who am I? I'm a whole bunch of shit.
All right. And I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it.
And I took something that a lot of people have attempted to, and I have to know that it was spirit and it was my elevated ancestors, because it's hundreds of people, thousands of people that do what I do, but they're not as successful as I am.
Yes.
And so I do keep that in mind. And I don't know if humble is the word, but I'm damn sure grateful.
All right now.
And I feel like as long as I do the right thing, and sometimes it's hard because you got to keep emotions out of it. But as long as I'm fair and I've done a spiritual investigation on it, and that's how I move. I know that a lot of people think that I can't be mean and I can't come off, and it's not that, because I always lead with kindness. But at the same time, people need medicine, not magic. People need to deal with these mental health issues and everything else before they dabble into magic. Because if you haven't got that situated and you ain't did that shadow work, you can never even get to your self-love.
Sure.
So I've learned that, you know, a lot of people want this vessel. They want to be this vessel for this thing. And identity-wise, that's been a struggle for me because I didn't ask for this.
Okay.
I think that most people that live this lifestyle, or that live, because it is a lifestyle, that live it truly, we didn't ask for this. I didn't wake up and say, I want to be this person that does this. It kind of chases you, and you go through all of these situations that eventually you run right into the one thing that you didn't even know that you wanted.
I ain't never lied.
You know, I got into it. I didn't get into this because of a nigga. I grew up in it.
Yeah.
And I chose to, because that's, you know, that's why they initially get into it.
Most of the time, honey. Most of the damn time.
And so I was raised in. Some of it I understood and some of it I didn't. My mama was known as the voodoo lady. So that alone is very scary to people. But a lot of these same people, you know, would be sitting in her chair. So I grew up seeing it, and I know I didn't want it. And I let society and everything else tell me to go and go to church. And I got into church and I became a minister and everything else. And I studied the word of God so strong because I wanted to feel that connection. Yeah. So I felt the Bible in the contents of it, but I didn't necessarily follow the organization of a church. Right. Right. And I didn't even know what that is until I got into trouble, you know. And I feel like at the end of the day, it was the love that I had for hoodoo that I didn't even know that I had. Right. That saved me. And so my covenant for that was never to put myself in a position where I'm challenging the ancestors that I'm supposed to be revering. Okay. And so that's who I am. I don't know if
that's so dope.
Answered it. I don't know if
you definitely did, because I need for people to understand that that same thing that you just said, like, we don't choose it. It chooses us, most people that I even work with tell me that they don't want nothing to do with it, or that they are having issues and they can't put their finger on it. Even myself, I was like, I'm ignoring all these damn spirits. Who? I'm not answering them, because I grew up in church. You're told you're not supposed to, speak to spirits, or you're not supposed to be able to speak to.
I'm gonna tell you, when I was a young girl, I used to dream things. One of the dreams I remember vividly is that next door, their last name was Clifton's. And so I used to play with this girl named Tina. And so Tina was next door playing in their garage and took one of her daddy's cigarettes and lit it and set the garage on fire. This is what happened in the dream. This is what I seen in the dream.
Oh, wow.
And so I seen this black Lincoln, long black Lincoln, lay up against the tree. And he had to jump on this Lincoln. I don't know. He had to jump on this Lincoln to get out the house. And then she had ran to come play with me before this happened in a dream. But I seen it. About 2 weeks later, Tina comes to sit on the porch and play with me. And next thing you know, I see the garage smoking. So I ran to the house and I said, Mama, I told you about that dream. And my mama said, be quiet. And I said, Mama, you need to call 911 or something. So she calls 911. And it's the fire truck that leans up against the tree, not the Lincoln. And I remember being 7 years old and I had seen it.
Wow.
And so I knew at that point, and she did too, that the gift that runs in our family had fell upon me. And so she tried to show me things and shit like that, but we young.
Yeah, scary.
And we don't pay attention to that. And many years after she passed, I had this suitcase that I would drag around me everywhere I moved. And it was her suitcase, and I would never open it. And that bitch was heavy. It would take 2 people to pick it up. And so when I finally opened the suitcase, all of a sudden everything made sense. There was this Bible, and the Bible was like one of those, it was in this box. And it was like the family Bible. And I was scared because when I opened it up, it had my name written in it. And all of these pages. And it just said, keep her humble.
Yes.
I would never forget. It had my name, and it was just written. She had my name written from the top to the bottom, keep her humble. And then she would have the keep her humble written across my name.
Your name.
So I think that she knew when I was younger that I was going to turn out to be this. But I feel like if she didn't do the work that she did at that time, I probably wouldn't have been humble. I probably would have been held. Because I've never been afraid of shit. So I have to tell people, when I was bold in the word, I had to be bold in the world.
That's it.
So I would never play myself small.
I know that's
I
right.
wasn't doing it when I was in church.
Why you?
So I'm not going to cower down now. I've gotten kicked out of church because I've asked questions because I had them.
Wow.
And I thought, who not to ask another pastor?
What the person? Exactly. Like, why
you're not supposed to question God? You're not supposed to. Well, God ain't who wrote the Bible. It was written over 5,000 years.
Okay. And 80-something different times, right? Ain't it done been written over 80-something times?
It's not that it's written over, it's just that it's written by people at different times. Like if it took over 5,000 years to write it, think about the different cultures, the different religions, think about the different authors. That's just like Leviticus. Leviticus was not written for man. Leviticus in the Bible was actually written for people that were going to be a priest. They was going to priesthood. So you can't take literally what Leviticus is saying because it was not written for us. It was written for men that were going to become a priest.
But
nobody teaches that. Nobody talks about stuff like that. And
because
so
it's convenient.
Right. And anything to conform, condemn, and to control people. And I tell anybody that's just getting into this, that's just starting, I know I'm going all over your questions, but I
listen, it's okay. Listen, that's what I told you. Like, be free with it.
I know that it's confusing because we used to conformity and we used to be living in this box. And when you get into spirituality, you now configure what your box is going to look like. Mm-hmm. So you can't be surprised when you lose your friends and you lose your family, because what you asked for was to be centered, balanced, and you wanted to be elevated. And you couldn't get those things by staying in the same place. So of course, you're going to lose friends. You are. You might lose a job. You might lose your car, because what you've been asking for, you don't want no distractions.
All of it. Kids.
Everything, yes. Everything that's going to negate you being on this path, I won't remove all of it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, I thought when I first came out openly doing this, I thought if I told people the truth, they would understand, because I've never lied to them before. Right. So I didn't want this to be something that I lied about.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, wasn't like that. I had a long-term friend that I thought was my friend. She told me that she was afraid of me. And I had been the godmother to her children.
Oh no.
They had been in my house. I had bought them Christmas stuff. She was married to a nigga that was whooping her ass, but she was afraid of me and she didn't feel comfortable with me being around her children.
Go figure.
And then a few years later, here she go, her dad was dying and she wanted me to talk to her. And I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. I don't know what you want me to do. And I learned that I had to put boundaries on me, because one thing I hadn't done before spirituality was that I was wide open. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because we want to be accepted, we want to be fulfilled, we will take on in and everything. But in spirituality, I learned I had to configure it to fit me.
That's right.
Because no longer do I live in this world where I live in that conformity. Now I have to make my own. And that's the hard part in the beginning, because you don't know what to make of your own.
Right. You don't know what that looks like at all.
And then you have 37,000 books, 1,500 cards. And everybody's a priestess. Nobody's been initiated, by the way.
Okay.
No one has a mentor. No one has a teacher. No one has a godfather. Who are your godparents? Who are you connected to? What house are you a part of? Who taught you how to do this? And they all say this one thing: it's natural.
You still have to cultivate it. You can't just.
So I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I want to study myself approved.
Right.
So I know one of your questions was, what do I actually practice specifically? Yeah. And I practice specifically hoodoo and attention voodoo too. I like to keep it spicy, but I have to tell people, if you are an African American or anyone from that dysphoria, then it is something that is naturally ancestrally inside of you.
Right.
And the best thing to do, if that's what you want to do, because I in some circles I am called a witch, in some circles I am called a spiritualist, right, or whatever. But witch is such an umbrella term, and there's so much stuff out there. Mm-hmm. I decided to study Wicca, and I studied Satanism, and I studied everything in the occult, because I call myself an occultist. Right. Okay. I don't really think that I'm like a spiritualist or anything. Because I studied it all. Yeah. My personal practice, I'm always go to hoodoo. Yeah. And I'm going to always do conjure, and I teach about conjure specifically. Because a lot of people don't. They teach about all this other stuff, and that is perfectly fine. That's their thing. It's not my thing, but that's their thing. But I feel like it's whatever, you have to practice whatever that calls to you. Yes. Whatever you connect to. And so constantly ask for guidance, constantly ask for a mentor, constantly ask for someone that's going to teach you. at the end of the day, I don't think that I would be as successful as I am had I not would have had teachers and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel that it is even more important. You know, the comment that you just made about the ancestral connection and the DNA and things like that. I grew up in church as well, Kojic, Church of God in Christ, and Pentecostal.
Y'all founder and leader was a witch.
Okay, but they don't want to tell you that, because every time I tell my mama, who a missionary child, she be trying to front like she not watching this damn podcast. Ma, I see you, but she be sitting there. She arguing.
Koji founder.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. I was like, C.H. Mason was absolutely a conjurer. Where you think blessed all of that stuff. So I just tell her, like, it's a mess, because my grandmother would do it, but they never, like you said, they didn't trust us enough to tell us what they were doing, because, you know, they were getting killed for it and things like that. So like, she just had me doing it my whole life. I tell you, I kid you not, I'm using the Biblemancy and writing my petitions in the Bible 7 times, and, you know, picking the scripture and all kinds of stuff, honey, and making medication and praying a prayer on somebody if they messing with you, and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't until, you know, she crossed over, because I'm also a medium. It wasn't until she crossed over where she was like, okay, now I could tell you, you know, that blessed, that green blessed cloth that I gave y'all, that y'all got from me at the church house, you know, that's conjure right there. That's me. That's prosperity that I prayed over your life, or that's protection I prayed over your life, you know. So different things like that. So you're right, it really is who you are, but it's up to you to then learn, study to show yourself approved, learn the things that you were being taught, you know, why it is. Look up the herbs that you might be using, look up the oils, like take your time, because our ancestors didn't get to do that, and now it's our job to now.
Well, they did get to do. They did get to do. They just didn't want to share.
Didn't tell us, right? Well, now we.
See, you have to think about what hoodoo and stuff is. That's why you have a lot of the saints are the same as the Orishas, because they had to practice differently. They still did their thing. That's why hoodoo is recognized in Catholicism, because that is something that the priests did believe in. So they practiced in secret, and they learned how Saint Peter is really this person, and, you know, they had to teach in silence. So that was a natural thing, not to do it publicly, and not to even do it in front of your family. Do you know that my mother's mother never talked about slavery? They never talked about it. They never, and I was raised around older people. None of them ever talked about slavery. They never talked about how they grew up. My mother, she never talked about how she grew up, but she used to sweep the floor all the time. And I used to go, why do you sweep the floor so much? And she said, I wasn't used to no hard floors like this when I was growing up. So I learned it. She said, besides, you got to keep stuff out your house. So sweeping, when you hold a broom down, what it does is it casts away. But if you hold it up, it attracts. So it's just, they did stuff all the time, just like that little tomato thing that they would stick pins and stuff in. That was for protection. But if you look at it, they use it in sewing, well, how they was sewed. And sewing kids, they take that pin right out of there and fuck somebody up with it. Like that's what conjure is, and that's what I love about it. Yeah, conjure is about roots and herbs, and it's about how they took such a natural way of life and they made so much do with just that little, you know. And conjure, the word, people think that it's just burning some candles and that's gonna do it, and it's not. Conjure ain't even pretty.
No.
If we showed half the shit that we do with conjure, PETA, and everywhere else they be trying to get us. So I think, like I said, I think that the new wave, it's beautiful. And I love the crystals, and, you know, because conjure used the crystals, they used to call them river rocks. They would use those instead of, crystals, but it still meant the same thing.
Right.
So it is core, like I said, it's the foundation that I pour in belief, and it's mine.
Yes.
Specifically. But I do study, a lot of stuff.
And she bad than the motherfucker. Y'all need to understand that, okay? If you listen, no matter what you feel about her or what you know about her, there's one thing you ain't gonna be able to say, is that she not about, what she about, okay? She walked that talk. So
I don't have no choice.
That's it, period.
Because people be ready to get you
all the time
and prove you wrong.
Okay. So I want to know, like, okay, so on a lighter note, before we get into some more questions and things like that, who is Duchess like when Duchess not? I know you are Conjure, you walk in Conjure, you walk in Hoodoo, right? But like, what do you like to do for fun?
Read.
Yeah, me too.
And I like to sit in nature and just do nothing. My favorite thing when I get out from work is to let my dogs out and sit in my backyard.
I love that.
And just do nothing. Just lay there and just be. If that means I put my feet in the dirt and just earth.
I love that.
Yeah. I just, all day long, I listen to people and their problems and I give them solutions to help. And so for me, sometimes just being by water,
yes,
or just listening to water or being in it, or sometimes just laying doing nothing. That's a lot for me.
Yes.
Because everybody pulls at me. So those times that I get to do individual things, just simple stuff, I run to that.
I love that. I love that. A lot of people don't even ask people who are spiritualists, or what they would call a root work or a witch, or if they're in the public eye in some way. They don't even ask them, like, what do you do for fun, or how are you, or like, who are you as a person, or what's your favorite color? Like, they don't give a damn. They just gonna come in.
Because it's for them. It's about them. It's not about you.
So I'm like,
it's about them.
That's why I make it my business to ask that. Like, I'm random. Sometimes I'll just inbox somebody like, hey, how you doing? Because I just know it's just such a heavy cross to bear. And most of us, like you said, didn't ask for it. It's just who we are and who we're called to do. Literally, if I don't give a message that's given to me, I get physically ill, and I know a lot of people are like that. Or if I don't, do whatever it is that I need to do, it starts to take a toll on me as my health, or just how I'm feeling emotionally, because it's just who I am. And it's just a lot for us sometimes. So it's just really important, like,
Well, it's really important if you're in a position like myself or yours, that you make sure that you are cleansing, and you are also, you need someone to talk to too, because who helps the healer?
Absolutely.
I mean, I talk about mental illness a lot, and I also talk about therapy, and I also talk about counseling, because when I was growing up, it got to a point in my life where they thought I was schizophrenic, because I would hear stuff, and I was like, Mom. Like one time I had a dream that this girl was in my closet, and she swallowed a golf ball. Oh, it's not even possible to do that. So I go, and I was like, she's in the closet and she wanted me to come in and play with her, but I never would go in there and play with her. And so when I told my mama, she said, that's them Jewish folks that lived here, their little girl died.
See? In
the house that we grew up in. And so she would try to choke me, and it was always something having to do with my neck. And so when I got older and I researched it, she died. She died some mysterious death, and it had to do with her being asphyxiated. Yeah. And so, like I said again, when having stuff like it only got worse as I got older. But the great thing about it was that my mother, my great aunt is who I call my mother, she already knew that I had that gift. So she would tell me, don't tell everybody.
Yeah.
And to this day, I don't give unsolicited messages. I know a lot of people be seeing, they come in my inbox and stuff on my DM and they say, well, you sent an inbox to me about, you had a message for me. Girl, that wasn't me. Because I don't do that.
Okay. Because honey, no. For real.
I'm not going to nobody inbox. I'm not going and nobody DM. Talking about the spirit told me. Now you got me fucked up. And I'm not saying
that. The way you said it.
No, I got a message because spirit said, spirit ain't said a motherfucking thing. The spirit would have told me first, bitch, before it told you. So that wasn't me. That wasn't me. Please no.
Okay.
Unless you
heard it here.
Me or you make an appointment with me, I do not give unsolicited advice because a lot of times people don't want to hear what you have to say anyway. They just want to be able to vent. So
even if they pay you half the damn time,
I don't take unsolicited messages and I don't give them either because spirit gonna tell me first before it tell you. Now you stop it.
That part, please. Whoever's doing it, stop that shit. For real, please stop it. But it's just so like refreshing. Guys, I didn't get to say this on time because I said it to her in private, but I know how particular Miss Magickal Lady Duchess is about, speaking with people and stuff like that. And I'm like, y'all don't even know right now. I'm fangirling, and so is Bang, because y'all know who Bang is if y'all on my Facebook.
Don't fangirl. No, I am very particular about who I share my energy with. And really, the spiritual community made me that way.
Of course.
I came into it very innocent. And I also came into it thinking that it was going to be like my mom when I was growing up. And I talk about my mother a lot now. But when my mother was growing up, we always had somebody staying there, sleeping, in the house. And she was always cooking for people and taking care of people. Like I saw her do that. And she always, when my mother died, she died in 2004. There was candles everywhere in our fucking front porch and our front yard. And the people that would call and I just wanted to give you this money. I owed your mama. And I was like, what you owe her? I owe her $700 and I wanted to give it to you. It was a lot of that.
Yes.
It was a lot of that. And so the way she died and how people just revered and they love my mom. And even to this day, they loved my mother. And I thought, they're going to love me like that.
Period.
Because this is what I've been working for. This is what I'm working for, the admiration, like what they gave my mother. And it wasn't like that. Now, it did make sense why my mother was so guarded, but she was so open. She was
at the same time, that is an art. Okay.
And she was mean as fuck. My mama was 5'9". She was a chocolate woman with a gray streak that went in the middle of her head, and she had the prettiest eyes. But she was mean, but she was sweet. She was a fucking Leo. And Leos can be cunts. Can you imagine my little Taurus ass and her little Leo ass in the same house?
Y'all both,
Girl, and my daughters are Leos, both of them.
Ooh.
Cunts. Cunts.
Oh my goodness.
But I love them, but they cunts.
Of course.
So I don't know. I had to, like I suggested, you have to configure your life and you have to do it your individual way, but you are going to take some losses. But it's really not a loss. It's just a lesson. And because, I remember when I got in trouble and before I go to work every day, I would read Psalms 91 and I hated that fucking job. I know I wasn't supposed to be there and I was robbing his blind. I was Jesus. In the name of Jesus, I was robbing. And so I knew that I was wrong because my guilt was, the reason why I did the ass like this because they owed money. And I felt like it was an all-white company. They was just really hugging my little nigglet ass out. And I thought I would get them back, but that's not the way to do, But I was reading all these Psalms this and Psalms 113. Like I was really on some money shit, but I wasn't doing it the right way.
Right.
And so when we got called and all of this shit, I knew that shit must have worked because I stole probably $250,000 and they only found 100.
Girl.
And I had no regrets. Now, would I do it again? No. Would I put myself in that kind of position? No.
Right.
Would I do anything like that? No.
Right.
Never again.
That's gross, man.
But, you know, you live and you learn, and that was a lesson too. Because I done sold drugs and hoes and, you know, I didn't move some shit.
Okay.
Because I loved money. But my covenant was if I got out of this, I had to do something that was going to sustain me in such a way. Now, I didn't know what that was.
Right.
But I had went to school, I had got a degree, and that wasn't enough. So this kind of fell upon me, you know. I remember I went to praying and I wound up going into this deep trance to the point that my daddy, when he was still living at the time, he was screaming my name. And when he had finally got up and came in my bedroom and I was sweating and he threw some water on me. I was mad because I had just got my herpes. And he said he was crying. My dad was 85. And he said, baby, you wouldn't come out. I've been calling your name for about an hour and a half.
Oh my gosh.
And like a month later, I didn't have to go to prison.
All
so
right,
I would do deep work. And so my daddy said, you know who you look like? And I said, what, Dad? He said, you look just like your mom when she used to do that stuff in that room.
All right now, see?
And so I was like, I don't know what the fuck he talking about. And, you know, maybe like a year or so later, opened that suitcase and it had all of this stuff in there. And I figured out why me and my first husband didn't last, because she didn't like him. And she did work on that. And so, yeah, it made me fall into it really heavy. And but I knew I didn't want to do what she did. My mother did a lot of voodoo and stuff, and my like I said, my mother was Haitian, and she was not the first. She was the second generation here in America, and so they were different. And I know I didn't want to do that, but I started studying, and I found this thing called Wicca, and I studied Wicca for about a year, and I was like, I don't really like this shit. This is a little bit too sweet for me.
Right.
But again, it was part of the path and part of the craft. Yeah. And it taught me about the equinoxes and the different pagan holidays that Christianity couldn't explain. And I was like, okay. So I think I became like a scholar in this. Yeah.
I like that. That's how I am. Like right now, I'm in the space of Kemetic spirituality and learning the stories, the creation story, and putting some things together regarding that. I feel like I went straight to hoodoo, but I didn't know a name for it, if that makes sense. When my grandmother transitioned, we had identical gifts spiritually. And so when she transitioned, it kind of was like, she kept telling me, don't worry about that drinking, don't worry about that smoking. It's about to stop. When I go, it's gonna stop. I said, okay. She said, yeah, and you're gonna do what you called to do. So it was like, it just kind of like happened. I didn't realize what I was doing. And then I started to, like you said, read books, study, learn more things. And then I was like, oh, then she was waking me up at night, walking me through stuff, telling me things. Remember I told you to do that? That's what this is over here, so it was an amazing experience to get connected to her in that way. And then more so with my ancestors, because then it was like, they show you more stuff. But the reading and the studying to show yourself approved is so very important for anybody that's starting, like even before they start to branch out and look for teachers and stuff like that, So what would you?
I think it's really important if you are starting out that you do connect to a mentor, that
Yes.
you get some type of foundation that has some type of elderhood to it.
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I preach and I stress
Mm-hmm.
is that you need a teacher, you need a mentor. And I've been so blessed in my life to have a mentor, to have a godfather, to have a spiritual family that was going to teach me something too, you know. So I feel very lucky and very blessed. And somebody said, well, you know, you an elder now. And I was like, well, fuck, goddamn it.
But I mean, 43. You a young elder. You a young elder.
That's like, well, shit. But I mean, I appreciate that people look to me, because that's not how I went into it. I wasn't looking for anything, and I wasn't looking for this to be a business. It was just a hobby. I wasn't looking for this to be what it was. That's why it's so funny to me when people say, well, like, you scamming people, and you know, because at one point, listen, they had 40 fucking videos, and I was like, how did I know that I was going to make it like this? There are hundreds of people who do the same thing that I do, right? Mm-hmm. But I made it different than what they did. So I didn't even know that. One thing I tell people, I never asked for wealth. I never asked to be rich. I just always asked for growth.
Okay, that's that part. That part.
I've never asked, I want to be rich. I want to have a whole bunch of money. I just want growth, and I want to be comfortable in it. That's it.
I know that's right. That's amazing. So like, so you would say basically the most important thing when coming into the spiritual walk would be to find a mentor, or like, do you feel like they should probably read up on some things to try to figure out what manner?
I think they should get rid of their church hurt.
Oh, girl.
I think that they need to deal with church hurt. I think they need to deal with their roots and their traumas. Mm-hmm. I think that's what they need to deal with first. Yeah. I think they need to fall in love with themselves. And if they do that, they have no choice but to attract positive things. They have no choice but to be able to manifest that person that's going to excel them. But they have to do that first. And a lot of people don't come into that. They think, well, I want a money spell. I need a money spell. Yes. But you don't even have any type of, what's the word? You don't have any type of stewardship over the money that you have now. So how are you gonna ask them to give you more money when you're not even doing the money that you have? Right?
Okay.
You sowing into all this dry land. That nigga ain't giving you shit, and you didn't pay, and you gonna pay for somebody to do some work on him. Okay. And this nigga don't pay $1,000 worth of bills in your house every month. Like, I don't even
come on now, preach. What is it there for?
Get you together. Deal with the mama issues and daddy issues. Deal with that kind of stuff first, and all things will be added after that, because you're configuring something that's healthy.
Yes.
Because if you jump the gun, so you want a mentor, and you want a mentor, like, just say you get me. You're going to think that I'm going to cover you, and, oh, babe, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to call shit out that's probably going to break you down. But if given the opportunity, I'm going to build you back up. And this time, nobody will be able to take nothing from you.
Yes.
And you're not going to give it away either.
I know that's right. Yeah, therapy is invaluable. It really is.
But that's what people, like, most of the times, I think that people need conversations. They don't need readings. Because a reading, it's only going to really identify what you already know. It might call it out for you for a lesson, or it might call it out for you for something that you need to pay closer attention to. But the part of the reading that the reading don't do, it doesn't give you any solutions to your problems. It just opens these portals for them to get bigger. Mm-hmm. And that's even a lot of these nuances, these new people that's doing readings. Again, they haven't dealt with their own problems.
Okay.
But they're reading on other people. There is a young man that was smoking crack on one of his lives.
Wait,
I'm not even bullshitting.
Wait, hold the fucking phone.
I don't know his name, but there was a young man that was smoking crack on one of his lives. And He literally said when they called him out on it, if people want to pay me for readings while I'm smoking crack online, this is my body. I can smoke crack if I want to. And the only reason why I mentioned it, because blessings to that young man if he getting some help. But the reason I mentioned that is because you're talking about somebody that is looking at a chemical dependency. And so he's reading into what can he possibly see in your life that he has not dealt with within his own. That's what a lot of these young people are doing. And then when you say something to them, oh, you just saying it because you're jealous. I'm not jealous of you.
Right. You hating, you know.
I'm not. I don't, you cannot compete when you can't compare. I'm me.
Right. Right.
I'm probably one of the most successful ones that's out here like that. I'm not competing with anybody. If I could do something to help, and I have put a lot of people on my platform, or I used to, and then they make it big and then they talk shit about me. So I had to learn how to step away from that. I don't even want to be in the social circles of a lot of spiritualists because I don't like how they move. If we're here to heal and we're here to help, then that's what we should be doing at all times. Now, I know I can say some shit to hurt people's feelings, but I'm not trying to offend you. I'm trying to change you. And if people have not dealt with that trauma that I was talking about before, they won't exercise the emotional maturity for a mentor, so they're not ready. Right. Because there's a process to these. There's some deprogramming. There's some trauma healing, because I would not allow you to trauma bond with me, and you would not trauma dump with me either. I'm very matter of fact about stuff like that.
Absolutely. Very. Absolutely. Very. You know, and I do it whenever I'm reading people and stuff. I'm on it. Like literally, a client just yesterday, I was like, listen, your ass is supposed to have been did it the last time. Don't come here no more until you made an appointment, you know, because I've gone through it my entire life. You know, I've gone through therapy my entire life. You know, when I had my awakening, I started having panic attacks. I already had PTSD. I'm like, what the hell is this? So I went back to therapy, you know, as well as the spiritual growth and the learning and stuff like that as well. It is definitely a combination of things that needs to happen before you get into the space of practicing. So I really, really love that you did mention that. Yeah. So, I mean, I love this interview. This is so informative, and it was just such a good energy and vibe. And I feel that, you know, I just appreciate it. I appreciate what you bring to it. And also the fact that you're able to be confident with all of these people, you know, and they BS. It's a good thing for somebody to see somebody that actually genuinely loves themselves versus somebody that's saying they love themselves, but is like really insecure within who they are as a person.
Well, see, that takes you dealing with those issues, dealing with those traumas. You know, one thing about me is, and I'll tell anybody too, if you are growing in this, you have to learn how to be transparent, and you have to learn how to walk in your transparency with people if you want people to be attracted to the type of energy that you put out. And I realized that after I had got, I think about 5,000 subscribers, I realized that I need to tell my own truth so nobody can try to beat me over a barrel about it. You know, that's why I was open, or I am open about everything. Yes. You know, I tell people that to fear at this point, go back to church. Okay. Because what the fuck do you have to lose? See, the thing about being chosen is once you take them glasses off, them rose-colored glasses, when you chosen, I can't remember what Gregory, what's his name? He's a comedian / he's an activist that just died. Oh, I know what he said, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said something to the effect that when you are chosen, those rose-colored glasses that come off, you can never put them back on again.
Never put them back.
So when you choose this path, you need to understand hands down, you will never, ever again be able to see life the way that you did before. So now you have no choice really but to do the work. And if you really apply yourself, you give yourself 6 months, you can be in a total different position in 6 months. Facts. In a year's time, you should not be in the same place you was in this year as you last year as you was this year. You should have changed. And so that's what conjure, that's what all of this is about. Yeah. When you think of the origin of hoodoo, where did it come from? It came from our pain.
That's right.
Our suffering. You know, imagine if you will, and I've said it on my video before, imagine if you will, you just going out to hunt for the day. So you can take your hunt back home so your wife or your mother can fix it. Y'all can eat. Mm-hmm. But while you hunting, you hear this strange noise, and next thing you know, this man, you've never seen a man like this before. He got hair hanging off his head, his eyes are blue. Mm-hmm. He's a different skin hue than you are, talking in a language that you do not understand. He didn't hit you. You fall to the floor, to the ground. Maybe you fucking pass out. You wake up, you change.
That's it.
You go into this port, the Port-au-Prince. You go into these different ports, and you don't even know all of these different languages, all these different origins, and everybody's afraid because they've never seen this before. Imagine the women, they periods coming down on them, and imagine all these babies, they pregnant. They got chains around their wrist and their feet, and they got these iron collars, and they are so confused. They don't know what's going on.
Right.
They put them on this ship from feet to head, side by side, pissing and shit. Mm-hmm. And those who didn't jump off the ship, little girls raped. They don't even know nothing about this shit. That's where bed witches came from. Mm-hmm. Because I look at hoodoo like that, I can't use it for bullshit.
Okay.
And if people respected the origin more of what it came from and what it was about, survival. It wasn't about being rich.
That's right.
And it wasn't about, I want this nigga to be with me and he don't want you. I'm going to make him be with me. No, the love spells came from because they took their husband. Mm-hmm. Right from them. Oiled them up, shined them up, and put them up on the block for somebody to sell them. Mm-hmm. That's where this come from.
Yeah.
This is why you should be passionate about your practice.
That's right.
It doesn't have anything to do with position and you're more powerful than she is. I'm more. It's not about that. I've had people to say that to me. You don't want me in your group because I'm more powerful than you. Well, bitch, if you so fucking powerful, then make your own goddamn group. What is you worried about my shit?
Why are you here? Like, what's going on?
Really? So again, I think that's what people miss.
Yeah.
And even when I be funny, people are afraid when I'm funny. I can't be serious all the goddamn time. Right. Shit lasts.
A little bit, damn.
I spoke to 5 crystals today and I can't, girl. Everybody's so mystical and magical and non-human. That is not me.
Okay. They try to take it back to the church days. I was telling people, I said, spirituality is becoming very religious. And it's just frustrating. But you know what? Hoodoo gonna be hoodoo. And that's it for me. I love it. And I get exactly what you're saying. I don't understand all these people feel like, oh, I got to get this exact route on this exact day. And I got to do it this way. And I need this color. Our ancestors didn't have access to no damn red candles and blue this. And
no, but there are things that need to be done at a certain time. Certain thing like that. That is true to it. But it's not so. Sometimes the day or the time don't matter. You just need to do,
if you have to do what you gotta do. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like,
but if everything is imagery, counter colors do matter. if everything, because it's association. So
absolutely, yeah.
It does have its correspondences.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I love going and using the colors of the candles and things like that. And if I don't have it, I'll use a white one and all of that good stuff. But it's just like, I feel that they're making it so rigid. It's like, if you need to put up a protection, put some protection up, put some protection up. If you gotta go,
but most of these ATRs and stuff like that, they are rigid like that.
No, they are. And IFA, like you were saying, IFA is definitely one of them. All of the other practices are definitely in that space. So I mean, I feel like Hoodoo is the most spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Out of that you would get like.
I don't know if it's that exactly, because Hoodoo is a practice and Voodoo and other things are religions.
Right. Absolutely.
So Hoodoo is a closed practice for sure, but it's still a practice nonetheless, where a lot of these things are religion. That's why they call them ATRs, African traditional religion.
Traditional religion.
You're right. There's just like Palo, and you got Santeria. All those are specific.
Yeah.
They're very specific. So.
Yeah. Very much so. I just love it, and I love all of it, and I thank you so much for coming on here and just being like, I love you so much. Thank you. Like, I'm just happy you here, and that you out here dropping the gems the way that you did, that you're open to it, even though you're very private with your energy, as you should be. I thank you for being on here. I want everybody to know, before we get off of here, how they can find Magickal Lady Duchess, for those that don't know. Listen, hit them with all of it, and I'll put it on the
I got to look it up myself. I know my website is Magickalladyduchess.com, which is Magickal Ladyduchess.com. I have Instagram and TikTok. I'm really trying to work on being on Instagram more, because I know I have a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah,
that's extremely successful. I'm very proud of that. That's something I grew it from nothing.
I know.
Look, I'm trying to look. What is my
your YouTube?
The real MLD Magickal Lady Duchess. That's the Instagram.
Okay, the real MLD.
And then my with my TikTok. So y'all don't really talk about a lot of witchcraft on TikTok. Maybe I will.
I know. I have fun on TikTok too. So I don't.
I mean, in my mind, I be saying I'm gonna do it, and then I started I'll start scrolling, and it should be so funny. My TikTok is the Magickal Lady Duchess.
Yeah. Okay, so they can find, I'm going to put the website on the screen, guys. We're going to also have it down in the description box. If there's any other information that you guys are looking for, other Facebook and all of that, I'm going to put all of that. I'm going to get that from her after this, and then I'm going to put all of that as well. You have a store.
I do in Mesquite, yes. It's called MLD Holistic Healing.
MLD Holistic Healing.
Yeah, it's in Mesquite, Texas. 625 Pioneer.
There you go.
People think I'm gonna come here and see me all the time.
I know.
But I tried to make it like a mega store, and I tried to make it where it had everything that you can come here. If it's crystals, or Wicca, or Hoodoo, and you can buy pretty much anything. Animal head.
Okay, listen, y'all.
Pretty much everything here.
Y'all be needing it. Y'all know where to go then if you're in Mesquite, Texas. All right, 625 Pioneer.
Yeah, Suite 102. I think it's road. It's Suite 102. You can't miss it. It got trees and birds and everything on the windows.
Oh, see, now one of these days when I fly out from New York, I'm gonna have to go over there and stop through.
Well, thank you. You should.
Yes, I would love to. But guys, I know you guys are gonna love this interview just as much as I do. We're gonna be review. Listen, guys. So now I'm recording, and I'm going to post it on my birthday. So this is a very special interview for me, and we would like to dedicate this podcast episode to Hoodoo Sen Moise, who is Magickal Lady Duchess's forever godfather. Today would be his heavenly birthday, and you know, he's just dope. And that would be all. I love you guys so much. Please, please, please stay tuned. Like, share, subscribe, comment.
Please, you know, like, share, and subscribe.
Please
get her some subscription up.
Yes, honey. Let's get this up here. We need this
out
to
just
more
watch.
people.
Don't just watch.
Please don't. And that would be about all. Thank you so much to Magickal Lady Duchess for being here and just being such a great presence. And till next time, guys, peace.
Thank you, darling.
Thank you.